back to the channel, everybody. This is Kodeations. In today's video, we're going to be diving back into some Cookie Run Kingdom and specifically bringing you guys a guild boss tier list for 2022, at least for January. We're going to be talking about the best cookies that you should absolutely use and which ones you should not. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Diving right in, ladies and gentlemen, so starting us off here for the tier list video, keep in mind it's purely subjective and based on my opinion and a couple other people's. You might not agree with everything, and that's okay. Instead, I invite you to drop a comment down below and let me and let others know what exactly you feel and why you think something should be changed. With that being said, though, guys, starting us off here on SS tier, we've got a handful of cookies. Right off the bat, we've got Vampire Cookie, arguably the best single target damage dealer in the game, so hands down, works wonderful in the guild boss battle. Definitely SS tier when it comes to damage output. Next up we've got, that's going to be DC. Again, an absolute must for pretty much any guild boss battle team out there. The defense break that's being provided by his skill is absolutely broken for a stage like this to maximize your score. Next up we've got, that's going to be Sorbet Shark. Again, a DPS unit that literally is on every single guild boss team and has since Sorbet first came out. It's just really impossible to replace him at this point when it comes to individual teams. Next up we've got, and that's going to be Cotton Cookie. That's right, Cotton Cookie has officially made her way here to SS tier. Prior to Eclair launching into the game, Cotton was only usable pretty much at lower level dragons or really high level dragons, but you had to have a massive, and I mean a massive amount of substats in order for you to really utilize Cotton at high level dragons. Well, that leads us into the next cookie we've got for SS tier, and that's going to be none other than Eclair. Eclair in this game has legitimately broken almost every aspect of the meta in every type of content. With that being said, Guild Boss is no exception. Eclair does a mega ton of damage and now has also made Cotton very viable even at low-level dragons all the way up to max-level dragons, all right? So that's going to be why both of them are placed on here. Eclair, again, coming in at SS. With that being said, though, guys, let's jump in here to my S tier and complete that bad boy. The first one up we've got, and that's going to be none other than Licorice. Everybody knows before the Eclair was dropped in the game and Cotton was dropped into the game, the Licorice was literally the best guild battle team that you can possibly build and run to maximize your score. That's no longer the case, but nevertheless, if you've already got a Licorice built, you don't have any Eclair built, or maybe not even a Cotton built, then Licorice is your next best option and can still put up some really good numbers. The next one up we've got, and that might surprise a ton of you, and that's going to actually be Almond Cookie. Almond Cookie has made a comeback this time around, especially with Eclair and Cotton. So again, definitely going to be putting up some really big numbers here. Some people might argue between Vampire comps and Almond comps, but I have talked to a ton of people that are doing testing, and the results are inconclusive. They literally are so close in their overall score at maximum level dragons and like testing on their dragons that it's literally almost really hard to determine which one is the better choice. But in my opinion, when you consider that at that moment, you've got to consider other types of content and what's worth leveling up and investing. And in my opinion, that's going to be Vampire over Almond. With that being said, Almond comes in at S for me. Next up we've got, and that's going to be Black Raisin. Again, if you can solo a dragon at lower levels, man, Black Raisin puts up the most single target numbers if you can solo that dragon. Very good damage dealer. And then last but not least, we got here for the S tier, that's going to be Poison Mushroom. Again, a very good damage dealer here up against bosses, and arguably literally the best composition prior, again, to Eclair dropping into the game. So nevertheless, definitely try to use and pick up on a Shroom if you've already got one, because again, very good for Guild Boss. Next up we've got, and that's going to start off our A tier, we've got Pure Vanilla Cookie. If you ain't got a Cotton Cookie and you need some healing on your team, especially at low-level dragons that you can solo, Pure Vanilla is going to be your best option. So nevertheless, you got him there. Next up we've got, that's going to be Rye. Rye is, again, very good for single target damage. She does wonderfully in the guild boss battle as well. So again, don't sleep on Rye if you do have her. She's not quite as good, in my opinion, as Sorbet or Vampire when it comes to single target damage. But again, nevertheless, a very good contender coming in at A tier for me. And the next up here we've got for A tier, that's going to bring us to Pumpkin Pie. Again, not a bad cookie, not the best choice, not the worst choice. If you got a pumpkin pie, then don't feel bad about investing in at least utilizing it, because again, until you are able to swap out for the entire SS team. It's going to be one of those things where you just got to kind of use what you got, and Pumpkin Pie definitely can put up some decent numbers. The next one up we've got, and that's going to obviously be Sparkling and also Mint Choco. Both very good in their own right. They both provide some sort of healing and a buff. So again, not a bad option if you do not have something like Pure Vanilla or Cotton or something like that, because they can still provide some sort of survivability and also some buff. Last one up we've got here for A tier, actually the second one we got here for A tier that's last, and that's going to be Pomegranate. Again, still a very decent cookie that you can put up some decent numbers with. She provides a little bit of healing and an attack buff. So again, not a bad one to run if you are looking for that support class. And then last but not least, for our A tier, we've actually got a move up from the very bottom, and that's going to be Cream Puff Cookie. Cream Puff got a massive, massive buff this recent update. So again, do not sleep on Cream Puff. As I mentioned before, guys, she's going to be providing some sort of healing for you. So again, if you are in that realm for looking for some healing, I think she's on par with Pure Vanilla when it comes to providing some heals. So I'm going to say A tier is probably where she deserves to be, at least for the guild boss battle, in my opinion. Next up we've got, that's going to be B tier. We've got a handful of cookies here on B tier. We're just going to place them all out because, again, it's a megaton. So, again, basically keep in mind that all of these cookies in their own right have some sort of utility. Now, I'm going to tell you guys they are not going to be the best cookies to use, but at the end of the day, if that's all you have, you still need to put up some damage numbers so you can utilize somebody from this B tier to get some sort of score to hopefully give you some sort of reward, especially on the, guild boss reset when you get those heroic torches and crystals and things like that. But nevertheless, all these cookies here, most of them are damage dealers. They provide some sort of buff on some of them. Somebody like Mango who provides an attack buff, which again is not bad. You got Seaferry here, Espresso, Twizzly. They're going to be AoE damage dealers, not single target damage dealers. So again, they just don't provide enough damage as single target units do. Things like Vampire, Sorbet, Rye Cookie, a lot of those are going to be doing 10 times more damage to the overall boss than any of these AoE damage dealers. With that being said, that's going to complete our B tier. Moving right along to C tier, we've got, again, a handful of cookies here. We're just going to go ahead and place them all out for you guys. But essentially, we're going to go all the way down here to Chili Pepper. So, again, starting off, very first one we've got is Herb. Herb provides healing, but that's pretty much it. You're not really going to be needing Herb because it can't really block any stuns from incoming from the bosses. You can utilize other healers, like I said, Pure Vanilla, Cotton. You've got Parfait, Sparkling, Mint. A bunch of other really decent healers that also provide some sort of utility that you can actually use in the guild boss. Herb does not have that. Same thing goes for Sonic here. Again, nothing really valuable. I mean, the reason why Tails is higher is going to be because the buff that Tails actually provides compared to Sonic's buff. But nevertheless, it's an ambush cookie. It's not going to be the end of the world down on D tier, but it's not going to be the top of the line. Next up, we've got, that's going to be Hollyberry. Might surprise some of you guys. Hollyberry is a very good tank in all other aspects of content in the game, but not good when it comes to guild boss battle. Just doesn't do it. Just can't really be replaced when it comes to Dark Choco, man. Dark Choco legitimately is holding that #1 spot for tank. Next up, we've got Strawberry Crepe. Again, same similar thing to Hollyberry. You've got Milk Cookie, again, very similar to Hollyberry, where, they're good tanks, but they're not going to be the best tanks, and DC pretty much holds that role. You've got Latte here, once again, not really providing a whole lot for boss stages. I mean, they provide a lot of AoE damage, but you need single target for guild boss. Kumiho. Now, Kumiho is going to be a special one because, again, I know a lot of people out there are going to say, but she got that buff recently, which she did in a rework on her skill. Her defense break is very good. I'm not going to argue that. The problem with Kumiho is that her timing on her cooldown with her skill, she does not pop off her cooldown until after she gets out of transformation. So essentially, that pretty much makes her trash for guild boss because she never leaves transformation by the time the guild boss is over or by the time she ends up heavily dying. So again, very hard to utilize her. You could potentially utilize her in some sort of attack rotations team, but outside of that, not very good, and it's not going to be recommended. And then with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and dive in here to the next round of cookies we've got. That's going to just be a handful of random assortment, guys. We're going to throw every single cookie that we've got down here on this list. Starting that off, we literally have Cocoa Cookie, Red Velvet, Fig, Yam, even got Snow Sugar down here. The reason why Snow Sugar is actually down here because they do provide decent amount of damage, but not outside of utilizing the Pincushion or Pumpkin Pie's buff. If you do not have either one of those things or both of those things going for him, then Snow Sugar just doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. Lilac, again, not really good utilized for this. Werewolf, Tiger Lily, Moon Rabbit, and even Frost Queen, again, not very good. Even as a legendary cookie, you really need to get that freeze and that burst off, and you just can't do that to bosses. Alrighty, then last but not least here, guys, we've got, and that's going to be T-Knight Cookie once again. It's a shame, guys. It's an absolute shame. I really wanted to put him higher up on this list, but the problem is that his literal skill requires all 4 of your teammates to die to get all 4 stacks, and it just makes it really, really difficult and hard to really utilize him in the guild boss and still maintain a high level score. You guys let me know what your thoughts are down below about that. But again, unless if you know something that I don't know about T-Knight, I just think he deserves to at least be on C tier instead of D tier because I don't think he's the worst damage dealer that's out there. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap up today's video for the Guild Boss tier list of 2022. As always, guys, let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. I would honestly try to steer clear of anything below A tier. I mean, I'm telling you guys, anything below that is just not really worth the investment for the Guild Boss. If that's all you got, you're just starting into the game, then naturally you got to utilize what you can, but I'm telling you that SS tier team is literally the best team in the game right now to maximize your damage and get the highest level of score. And then S tier right behind it is very good sub-in units. If you don't have all the units to complete the SS team, pick and choose some of the units from A tier or S tier to fill in the gaps to just hopefully maximize whatever damage you can do. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you know exactly when I drop a video and when I go live, which is typically Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Don't forget to join the Discord. The link's provided down below as well. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next one.